From Dar es Salaam, this is TBC News, our top stories. Government assures citizens' opinions do count. No cause for alarm for US dollars in the country.
We still have a reserve of around 4.9 billion USD dollars.
Good evening, I am Nasa Kingu. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBConline, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages at TBConline. The Prime Minister, Kassim Majaliwa, says the government takes note of all recommendations and the opinions given by Tanzanians on intergovernmental agreement between Tanzania and Dubai regarding port operations. The Prime Minister made the assurance in Dar es Salaam during the Eid al-Adha prayers, insisting that the agreement aims to improve the performance of the port for the national interest. Here's a report prepared by Bakari Msuya, read by Apasia Ringo.
Some Islamic religion believers during prayers to mark Eid al-Adha, which is one of the biggest holidays in the Islamic religion. The Eid al-Adha prayers were held in the mosque of the headquarters of the National Muslim Council of Tanzania, BAKWATA, and was attended by various leaders, including the Prime Minister, Kassim Majaliwa. Addressing those who attended the prayers, BAKWATA Secretary General calls upon the government to continue to provide education on the issues related to ports.
Our call to the government is to accept the ideas of the people and act on them quickly, including giving the right answers to the people in the areas that have doubts. Also, the government should take responsibility for providing education to the citizens and building a good understanding of the benefits of this agreement and these collaborations.
A word is also being given by the believers.
It's about time market turns into market. Tanzanians have many products to send there and do not have to worry about interferences, because sending our products there is to promote Tanzanian products.
And now it is the time for the official guest of honor, who is the Prime Minister, Kassim Majaliwa.
In this area, two things are involved: the agreement between the two governments to cooperate on this area, and at the port, the agreement has not been prepared yet. Please do not confuse the two things, which can cause misunderstandings.
He furthermore talks about the benefits of the agreement between the Tanzania Ports Authority and the Dubai-based DP World Company.
Tanzanians, your government has very good goals in this regard, and that's why they have been made public. We don't have to hear your opinions, advice, and fears, because it's our responsibility to take all that and work on it, because we want it to be beneficial for Tanzanians.
On the other hand, the Prime Minister wants the citizens to go against any environmental measures set to conserve the environment, and the religious leaders to continue condemning drug abuse.
None of these investors in Tanzania have been granted land ownership. The land of a Tanzanian belongs to a Tanzanian and to the public. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania has been assigned to manage it.
Despite various countries experiencing shortages of US dollars, the governor of the Bank of Tanzania, Emmanuel Tutuba, says Tanzania has sufficient level of US dollars of approximately 4.8 billion US dollars, which was recorded during the month of May, which enables the country to import various products from abroad. He made the assurance in Dar es Salaam after visiting the 47th International Trade Fair, famously known as Sabasaba, saying the challenge of the scarcity of US dollars is global and is caused by monetary policy of the United States, which is the publisher of the dollar, the military conflict between Russia and Ukraine, as well as the after effects of the COVID-19.
Currently, we are somehow faring to the extent that we have been receiving dollars from different sources, and for us, up to this moment, we still have a reserve of around 4.9 billion USD dollars, which suffice our demand for exports for imports of goods and services, which covers around 4.4 months.
Furthermore, the governor asserts that Tanzanian shilling is still stable in the economic cycle compared to the currencies of various countries in Africa. He also notes that in the past 10 years, the Tanzanian currency has depreciated by only 1.4%.
There is a time we were looking on the statistics. Within the consecutive 10 years, our shillings has depreciated by around 1.4%. You know, it's very rare for these peer regions or peer countries to have that stability. And this is because our inflation has been stable for a number of years as compared to economic growth.
African leaders who attend Quadripartite Summit have decided to institutionalize the platform to continue to harmonize consultations on peace efforts in Eastern DRC. However, funding commitments still remain a challenge. The summit was held in Luanda, Angola by the African Union Commission and regional economic communities including SADC, EAC, ECAS, with participation by the United Nations. Here's a report by Blanche Gosares.
And other regional bodies elevated the insecurity and humanitarian concerns in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo to the African Union this year. The Quadripartite Summit therefore endorsed the need for coordinated approach for all political and diplomatic initiatives and efforts in pursuit of peace and security in Eastern DRC under the auspices of the AU. A joint framework on coordination of peace initiatives has further been adopted in line with their relevant instruments and decisions with a clear division of responsibilities and agreed timelines. Members of the Quadripartite are therefore expected to report to the AU Peace and Security Council on a quarterly basis and other statutory meetings of the AU. But lack of predictable, adequate and sustainable funding is still a concern to member countries and could hamper any progress. In this regard, the AU Commission is directed to undertake resource mobilization and has so far seen about 36 million Namibia dollars in grant funding committed between AU and the East African Community. Angola and Senegal committed 20 million Namibia dollars each, while Gabon committed 9 million towards peace efforts in Eastern DRC. Meanwhile, the parties further reiterated the call for immediate and unconditional withdrawal of all armed M23 rebels and other terrorist groups from the DRC.
Thank you very much, Blanche Gosares, for that report from Luanda, Angola. The quality of the agricultural products produced and promoted by local business owners during the 47th Sabasaba International Trade Fair in Dar es Salaam has been praised by a group of 25 businessmen and women from South Africa, representing diverse enterprises from various business sectors in South Africa. Michael Getty is attending the fair and has prepared the following report.
Today is the second day of the 47th Dar es Salaam International Trade Fair, famously known as Sabasaba, with more than 16 countries participating, but also more than 2,000 exhibitors, with the theme, Tanzania is the best place for investment and trade.
The traders claimed that the exhibition is excellent since the entrepreneurs are employing a much simpler technology in creation of variety of products.
The trade fair, I'm very disappointed I only got here today because I think this was the best place to come firstly. Very well organized, and I think that it is totally conducive to doing good business. So I think it's really good. I love the fact that I can come here and be exposed to the local products. I think you've got so much local products and all natural and sustainable, and just a lot of good people doing good business. That's very nice.
The companies that's here, I see, especially in the agricultural sector and the fresh produce that Tanzania's got to offer. I was surprised to see the amount of South African wine that's available here, and it's great to see that there's wine coming from Tanzania.
What impresses me about this trade fair is that it has solutions that are natural, that anybody can produce. It's not too technology based, because the problem with too much technology, it becomes only for the rich.
According to Fortunatus Muhambe, the acting director of business development at the Business Development Authority, the delegation would provide African nations a chance to take part in upcoming trade exhibits.
From South Africa, but I'm sure after this delegation going from next year, we'll be having number of companies from South Africa.
The main purpose of this program is to assist them and upskill these 14 members that are here, so that they can advance themselves and upskill themselves and get better. And the reason why we are in one of these countries and we visit other countries.
The 47th Dar es Salaam International Trade Fair is scheduled to end on the 13th of July 2023. Reporting from Sabasaba grounds, Margaret Getty, TBC.
Thank you very much, Margaret Getty from Sabasaba grounds. From Dar es Salaam now we move all the way to Songwe region, where more than 1.5 billion Tanzanian shillings allocated by the government have been used to increase the number of classes in Tunduma Town Council in the Songwe region, creating conducive environment for studying for the students. Here's a report prepared by Ines Tobias, read by Apasiaringo.
The education officer in the Tunduma Town Council, Kasta Mbawala, says the construction of these classes will stimulate the growth of the students. Tunduma Town Council is one of the councils that have experienced changes day by day with improvement of the road infrastructure, health, water, education sectors. Tunduma City Council has a large number of students, and the main reason is high number in birth rate. Within 1 month, 500 to 700 children are born here. Due to that number, there is a need to increase the number of schools within this council every month. I would like to thank the President for providing us with this money, because it will provide students with a conducive area to study. The improvement of the infrastructure in Tunduma schools moves some of the teachers to speak out how they have received the progress made.
Due to lack of classrooms, there was a high rate of absenteeism among students. I believe it will strengthen the learning process and their attendance will be higher.
The projects have not only boosted the increase in classes for students, but also it is said to boost the economy for citizens. We thank the President for providing us with employment opportunities. We will greatly benefit and our children will be able to study freely.
We thank President Samia Suluhu Hassan for providing us with these funds and this project.
The government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, has been urged to keep inspiring sunflower farmers in the cultivation of the crop in large scale to enable the country to be locally self-sufficient with cooking oil and stop importing the product from abroad. Apasiaringo has more details.
The recommendation was given in Dodoma by Mchinga Member of Parliament Salma Kikwete in a seminar to raise awareness on the sunflower crop for members of Parliament in Lindi and Mtwara regions, insisting that the country has been spending a lot of money to import cooking oil from abroad, while Tanzania has enough land and infrastructure for the production of the product.
Zeti ni muhimu sana ukizingatia ya kwamba
sunflower is very important, considering that it is a strategic crop in the country, especially in the context of reducing the oil challenge. We have all reasons, intentions, and the ability to make Tanzania produce its own oil instead of relying on imported oil.
Sababu tunayo, nia tunayo, na uwezo tunao.
The executive director of the Agricultural Markets Development Trust, Charles Ogutu, says that the sunflower crop is important to support farmers to sustain themselves economically.
The sunflower crop has the ability to withstand climate change. The southern regions will benefit the most, and farmers will be able to increase their income to a great extent.
The major thing here is the market, because these crops were cultivated in the past, but people stopped due to the lack of market. Therefore, this campaign that we will start together should not leave the crossroads.
Let's be very careful with the issue of access to quality seeds.
198 households in Kirumba ward at Ilemela municipality in Mwanza region expected to benefit from 215 million Tanzanian shillings allocated for the improvement of the Kabuhoro to Ibanda road. The 780 meters road is being built with funds from the Tanzania Social Action Fund TASAF, expected to be completed in September this year. Here is a report prepared by Moses Matthew, read by Apasia Ringo.
The Kabuhoro Ibanda Road in Kirumba Ward, Ilemela municipality in Mwanza region, is being contracted with funds from Tanzania's Social Action Fund, TASAF. Upon completion of the improvement of the road will relieve the residents of a number of transportation challenges they used to face before. The advantages of this project include passing without any challenge. Even those who lacked services, such as pregnant women, will be able to be sent to the hospital and receive care quickly.
This area will progress because it was an obstacle to the development. We thank the government through TASAF for fixing this road.
198 households who are building the Kabuhoro Ibanda Road will also benefit from the payment of 215 million Tanzanian shillings from TASAF.
Its construction started on 25th January and we expect to finish it by October this year. This project is implemented by the beneficiaries themselves, aged between 18 and 65 years.
In Kitangiri Ward in Ilemela municipality, the construction of the Hima Health Center, which has been built by the government through TASAF, has reached 98%. Women have been suffering for quite a long time, leading to their death due to lack of this service. A pregnant woman has to take a motorcycle in the middle of the night to go to Kilumba or Seketule, but now it has become cheaper after the services have been brought close to us.
We thank the President, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, for building this clinic. Also, we ask for it to start working earlier so that women can get services on time.
The health care project also involves the construction of a house for the chief medical officer, which will cost 187 million shillings. In the implementation of TASAF, there is a question of fulfilling the conditions of education and health for children who are under 5 years old and those who go to school to high school level to fulfill the conditions of education. TASAF has been implementing these projects and contributing to the implementation in terms of money. The health center expects to start providing health services to citizens by the middle of the next month.
This ward has been without a clinic or health center for more than 50 years. We continue to monitor other projects too, apart from this clinic.
And now, before we wind up our local news tonight, let us now have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. And here is international news as compiled by Ramadan Impenda, read by Apasia Ringo.
The United Nations Security Council has postponed the vote to end peacekeeping in Mali. The deputy spokesman for the UN Secretary General, Farhan Haq, has said the decision has been reached by the member states due to continuing discussions between members of the Council, the UN and Mali. A vote scheduled for Thursday was postponed to Friday. France has drafted resolutions to end the peacekeeping mission in Mali within 6 months. Earlier on June 16, 2023, Mali's Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop asked the UN to withdraw its MINUSMA peacekeeping force immediately, accusing them for fueling tension in Mali. The United Nations Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in Mali, or MINUSMA, was created in 2013, taking over from an African-led mission as Mali was in the grip of insurgents that are still going on. The British court has ruled that the government's plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda is unlawful. London's Court of Appeal ruled on Thursday in a judgment that gives a blow to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's pledge to support migrants from arriving on small boats. A court ruling has been welcomed by the charity that challenged the policy, and they said the decision was an evidence of the importance of the rule of law and basic fairness. The decision on whether Rwanda could be deemed a safe third country for asylum seekers to have their claims processed is partly based on whether there is a risk that people could be forced back to the country from where they were originally fleeing. 10 people from countries including Syria, Iraq, and Albania who arrived in the UK in small boats alongside asylum aid argued the policy was unlawful. The plan to send people who arrive in the UK illegally to Rwanda was first unveiled in April 2022 as the government said it was aiming to deter people from crossing the English Channel in small boats. More than 400,000 police officers have been mobilized across France as the government tries to contain growing anger over the killing of a teenager by a police officer. The 17-year-old known as Neil M. was driving a rental car in the western Paris suburb of Nanterre on Tuesday morning when police pulled him over during a traffic check for breaking several road rules. Police say that the young man was driving his car towards them. France's Interior Minister said at least 180 people have been arrested after a second night of unrest, while 170 officers were injured. Meanwhile, the police officer who shot the teenager has been placed under formal investigation for intended murder. Earlier on Thursday, the French President Emmanuel Macron has held a crisis meeting and called the violence on the streets unjustifiable in appealing for calm. And debris and possible human remains from the submersible that imploded on a visit to the Titanic has been hauled back to shore as authorities investigate what led to the deadly deep-sea disaster. Members of the United States Coast Guard announced that recovery teams have retrieved what appear to be remains from the 5 passengers who died on board the Titan submersible. The U.S. court said the medical professionals will conduct a formal analysis of presumed human remains that have been carefully recovered within the wreckage at the site of the incident.
That was international news. Stand by now for other sports news. In sports news, skateboarding in Tanzania is set to get a boost following a high-profile visit by the chair of UK Sport, Dame Catherine Granger. She is here to mark the launch of a partnership project between the Skateboard GB and Tanzania Skateboard Federation to support the development of skateboarding in Tanzania. I got a chance to talk to her earlier, and here she starts by elaborating the prospects of skateboarding globally.
Competition starts, if you find you are comfortably and enjoy a level of competition and seeing how good you can be, then suddenly the opportunities just fall in front of you. So you can travel, you learn about yourself, you develop as a person. It helped when I was looking for jobs and writing a CV. Having sport in my life and the things I learned from it made me probably a much better person individually, much more confident. But also I felt my opportunities got much bigger of where I could go next with it. So I think if you're young and you're thinking, should I have a go? Definitely have a go. Find somewhere to go and try your sport, skateboarding or any sport you want, and just see where it leads you. And yes, it takes passion. Yes, it takes commitment. Yes, it takes hard work. but you will also get incredible friendships, you'll get great relationships, you'll get more confident in your body and in your mind. And honestly, I'm biased, but sport has been the best thing I could have ever done, and it's led me into lots of new things. So I would say if you're tempted, then try something and have a go.
Sometimes great support from people like you come and go.
Yeah.
Do you have any plan of making something sustainable in Tanzania in terms of having a long-term partnership or relationship that you'll develop and see how it grows over years?
I think the main thing from a lot of these trips is the relationships you build. So we really want to hear from people in Tanzania where the great challenges are, where the great opportunities are, where people feel that the future of sport could be. And I think from our side in the UK, we've got a lot of experience in some areas, but we're still learning in a lot of other areas. So I think we try and share that expertise. We try and have mutual discussions about what can be done longer term. But the idea is that projects like this, they're relatively short term in scope, and that's very deliberate, because we don't want it to feel like if we weren't here with our expertise, then it would finish without us. The idea is that when our experts leave the country, actually the expertise stays in Tanzania. So you want the country itself to kind of own the future of the sport. So although we'll hopefully always be long-term partners, the idea is also to feel the expertise we can teach, the expertise we can give, then continues on its own. But equally, we want to learn and have these conversations long-term. So I think that's why all these meetings are very important, that it kind of feels almost the start of the relationship between the two countries.
That's me there speaking with the chair of UK Sport, Dame Catherine Granger, earlier, and it was good also to see the UK ambassador to Tanzania learning some new skateboarding skills here in Dar es Salaam. That's the sports news. Now, before we conclude the news bulletin, let us now take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello and welcome for the next 24 hours weather forecast